Hey guys, it's Jessica, and I am back with a video on a recap of how my second craft fair of the year went. Um, this craft fair was a little bit different in the fact that it was at a hospital that I worked at for about 10 years, and it was specific to employees only. I have worked with these people for a really long time, and this is actually something that I put in a poll on my channel of like, hey, is this something you would do? Do you trust people? Because the setup was you leave everything set up and then you have, your Venmo QR code, your Venmo name, other ways that they can pay you. So like, my sign said, here's my Venmo. I also have Zelle. I also have PayPal. Or if you want to set up cash payments, here's my number. So it honestly, I know a lot of you said that that's not something you would do. You wouldn't trust people with your products out there. Um, to me, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit too trusting, but, and I'll tell you, it worked out fine. I didn't have anything stolen. And I think it's because it was not really open to the public. It was just open to employees of the hospital. There was a camera in there, and like I said, I've worked with a lot of these people for a really long time. I don't know. I guess I kind of just trusted everybody, and it worked out well. Would I do this model in a place in which I don't know the people? Probably not. Um, there are some people out there who just aren't trustworthy, but because I had been at this facility for as long as I was, and everybody knew who I was, it was a little bit easier for me to do. So it was a week long. This craft fair kind of confirmed for me what I want to do moving forward and switching my approach to craft fairs. And I will talk about that more at the end of the video. So I know that there's a lot of you who like to see what sold, what didn't, and I'm happy to share that. I do get a lot of comments of, hey, what are your prices on all this stuff? So I actually like to have my prices, where I bought my stuff, what I use, all of that on the individual project videos. I don't really go through it on this. So if there's a particular project that you really like, check out my other videos and it will talk about the prices and what I spent and what I charge and all of that. If there's something that you see, like for example, I know I don't have a video on this yet. Just leave a comment below on a video that you'd like to see something more specific on. So that being said, I will start with a number one seller for me, which was a little bit strange because I've never had these sell out. So these are little traveler's notebooks, and I made a whole bunch of them last year because I loved making them. I thought they were a lot of fun. I didn't take this one with me because I didn't have I like to put a like charm or bead dangle on them too. And this one I didn't have it. I didn't have time to get one done, so this one stayed here. And now this is the only one that I have left. So I think I took 6 of these up there and all of them sold within the first 2 days, which was a little bit strange because in years past, I've only ever sold like a few of these. So these were a huge seller for me on this craft fair. Another thing that was pretty popular were my handmade clay ornaments. So I don't have a specific tutorial on these yet. If it's something you like to see, just let me know. But these are something I actually made years ago. And I've always kind of had them with me, and sometimes I take them, sometimes I don't. They're kind of hit or miss, and I have it turns out, a kind of weird, specific sense of humor that not everybody loves. So when I make these, I like to do like the funny sayings. So this one is Princess Leia and it says nice buns. I think these are hilarious. Not everyone does. That being said, the ones I did sell were Christmas Vacation stamps and sayings that were a little bit vulgar. So yeah. So these are always kind of hit or miss for me. This craft fair, they were a big seller. Another big seller for me were and I'm sorry for the crinkling, were the hot cocoa mugs. As I told you guys on the first recap video of my first craft fair, these were not, they did not do well for me. And it's always about the audience, right? Like, I've never been at a craft fair where something is consistently a bestseller or consistently a dud. It's all about who you're selling to. So these I sold 16 of. These were, I would say, a good seller for me. These are some homemade planners that I made. These pads are from Target Dollar Spot from years ago, and then they have a post-it note holder and then a pocket here, and there's chipboard. I sold 3 of these and I had only taken up 4, so those were a good seller. And then my nuggets. I know I talked about in my last video how these did not sell for me hardly at all, and I thought it was because of the way I had them set up and positioned. And so I talked about how I was going to change how I displayed these. I did change how I displayed these, and these did sell. I think I sold around 15 of them. So I think, I didn't bring it down, but my Santa certificates that are hand stamped, I've shared those several times. Those were a good seller for me as well this year, or this craft fair. At the other craft fair, they weren't. And so I talked about how I was, again, going to change the way I displayed those. And so when I changed it up, they did sell. So I think that is all. My notepads and pens, these also did sell pretty well again. In my first craft fair, I mentioned how they had sold out, and these, I did sell several of these again. So that is it for my studs of this craft fair, and so now I will talk about the duds. Once again, the hot cocoa packs did not move. And I changed how I displayed those, and they still weren't moving, which is fine. I think some of you have commented like they've been around forever. Yeah, so probably just, I don't know if people are thinking like it's not really worth it. I can go out and do that myself. I've seen these too many times. I'm not really sure, but Santa keys, those did not sell very well either. And I even changed how I displayed those. Again, this might be something where they've seen them many, many times. I did have one person comment that I should change the way I do these and actually turn them into an ornament, which I thought was a really fantastic idea. So I might look into how I want to change those up for next year. The cake mix mugs. That's a hard thing to say. I sold 4 of these out of 10, so not really great, but they did okay. I'm still going to keep these, probably give them away as neighbor gifts, maybe take them and donate them somewhere. We have a really, really active homeless shelter that is always looking for gifts and supplies. I might take them to an assisted living facility. I'm not really sure yet. Another dud, which just honestly, I've talked about this before. It breaks my heart because I love these. As someone who likes to bake, these speak to me, so I love them, but they did not sell very well. I think I only sold 1 or 2 of them. I even lowered the price on them and did it like as a bundle deal, and still they did not sell. That being said, my husband has a lot of employees and gets a lot of gifts, and so he came to me and said, Jess, I really need some gifts to give out. So I gave him a whole bunch of these to give out to his employees. These did not sell well, which kind of hurts my heart a little bit because I love these and I think they're cute. This is, like I said, this is the first time I've ever had them out. I only sold 1. I'm not really sure why. I think as the audience is a big part of it. And then the last thing that did not sell as well as I had hoped were some of my handmade cards. I do think I made a mistake in how I displayed these. So I had these on my plastic stair stepper um, display, which works really, really well for things that are heavier and sturdier, like these notebooks, like the planners, and I had these displayed in there, and they sold really well. But what I've noticed is that when it's something that's lighter, like a card or like the Santa's keys, what will happen is that the gravity shifts them forward, and so they kind of end up being moved forward like this. And so they're kind of hard to see all of like what's all there. And you know, as I've been at craft fairs where it's like, oh, I don't really want to dig through all this stuff and kind of mess it up. So what I should have done was I should have brought my card specific display stand that I have. I actually bought it last year or the year before. Um, and it's made for cards and it works really well for cards. And that was my mistake. I should have brought that so the cards were more easily seen. They weren't flipping forward, so they couldn't, you know, tell what they were. I'll definitely do a video on that display because it works really well if you have cards, but it also works really well if you have like a bigger booth space but not enough product, because this display is actually really big, so it takes up a lot of real estate on your table. So it's a great thing to have if you're a card maker and like nothing else, or a card maker and only a few other items, because then it makes your display look really full and nice, but really it's the display that's taking up a lot of the room. So I'll definitely be back. I'll do a video on all my cards too. I know there's a lot of you that are out there that are card makers. So I'm going to be changing my approach to craft fairs next year. I had a theory that if I took less like Dollar Tree item gifts like this and took more handmade gifts like this, that I would see that these things move more than I would see these move. And it actually, I turned out to be correct. So I know that there's been a lot of discussion on my videos and in other people's videos who like to do craft fairs. People just don't have a lot of money to spend right now. Like I totally get it. Like we're in the same boat, right? Groceries have gone up. My power has gone up. Gas has actually gone down a little bit, but it's still expensive. Everything is just so much more expensive right now. So people who have some disposable income, they're not going to, it's my theory that they're not going to want to spend it on items like this, where it's like they can go out and recreate this, right? But they are going to spend it on something like this, where they don't have the time, supplies, or talent to make something that's a little bit more handmade. So I do think I want to get back into shifting my products that I take to sell are a much more handmade. And I actually went back and looked at a lot of the pictures from previous craft fairs from like 2017, 2016, and all of it was handmade with the exception of, I had some of these. They're a little bit different. They were like muffin themed, but, and those were always really successful craft fairs for me. So I do think I want to shift my focus back into getting more handmade, and see if people enjoy that more. I certainly have all the supplies to do it. But yeah, well, that's just a theory. We'll see how it works out. Just because that's what might or might not work for me doesn't mean that's what's going to work for you and your area. I can just tell that in my area, it's really heavily saturated with kind of gifts like this, and not a whole lot of handmade items like this. So just an idea I wanted to throw out there, but that is it for my video, and thank you so much for watching.